Hola, ¿qué tal? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Meg James, your Move to Spain mom, and we are on episode 42, talking all about a point of contention. Today I want to talk about why our 10-year-old son is not playing in football games here in Spain, but is practicing only with the team. Now let me back up. We had our son in a federated team in Madrid. It was CF Valdebebas, where we lived in Madrid, and he was able to play right away. We moved from the US. He transitioned right onto the team. He went to all the practices when we were here. He did all the games when we were here, and we had no issue. We ran into issues when we transferred down to Andalusia, and I want to speak to some of the complications or the frustrating parts of having your child on a football soccer team here in Spain, because honestly, it can be pretty frustrating. So let's jump into it. To play for a federated team. So there are different levels of teams that youth can play for here in Spain. And so if you play just for a school, so for example, if it's a non-federated school, Atlas American School is an example of one that comes to mind here in the Malaga area. They have a team that people can play on, youth up to a certain age, and it's not federated. So basically it's like a club sport. It's kind of like you playing YMCA soccer when you were little in the US. So that is non-federated. That's easier to play right away and to not have to worry about any of the bureaucracy in Spain. Now, when we played, as I said, in Madrid, we had no problems either. We just were right on a team. We made all the commitments. We got a lot of playing time, and it was a great opportunity for Griffin. Now, what happened when we transferred to Andalusia is Madrid has a Federación de Fútbol, and then Andalusia has its own. And if you know anything about visa processes, TIA processes, padrón processes in Spain, things can take a really long time. And so because of the red tape and the processes, we are now in week 3 of Griffin being on a federated team in Andalusia, but not being able to play games. And so what's the reason? The reason is because the Federación has to pass the paperwork from Madrid, even though we've already been Americans who have lived in Spain long enough to be able to show paperwork and things. We transferred from one league to another. So we're kind of in queue with everyone else who just moved here to Spain. So because of this, we are waiting on the Federation to approve Griffin's medical check paperwork that we completed, to process the fees that I submitted and already prepaid, and just to accept and work with the Madrid Federation to get his paperwork over to Andalusia. So very frustrating and nothing really we can do in the wait. Going back to the basics here for a minute, because I was not a soccer mom in the US, I want to talk about how we even got our child on a team to begin with. So Griffin is very athletic and naturally was able to transfer his skills from American football, like the tackle kind, and baseball to football or soccer here in Spain. And because of that, he was able to go right onto that team in Madrid. I can't explain why coming from the US right to Madrid playing for a federated team, we could just play right away, but now because of the transfer, we have to wait. That's the kind of thing that frustrates me about living in Spain, because it doesn't make sense. If anything, I should have had to wait when I moved from the US while I waited on my paperwork, and now I've just changed provinces and now Griffin can't play. So it doesn't necessarily make sense. But if you are someone who is moving your family to Spain and you have a child who's interested in playing football, one, they don't have to have past experience. That sounds crazy, I know, but it's a lot of times, like Griffin, the athletic skills that your child has are able to be transferred to soccer, to football. And so Griffin is a middle of the road player. I mean, I wouldn't say he's going to play professionally, and I also wouldn't say he's the worst on the team. I think he truly just has been able to practice and get to know the sport. And so do not give up. It's a great way to immerse your child in the Spanish language. It's a great way to gain confidence on a team and to be instructed in Spanish, and just to really fully immerse to the sport of the country. And so while we were a travel baseball family in the US, it's very possible to have your child on a federated federated football team. So if you don't want that level of commitment, you can easily just join like one of those school teams that I mentioned that are not federated. They just kind of play on the weekends for fun or more competitively fun matches. But if you are someone who's not sure where to start in getting your child enrolled on a football team, I want to talk about the process. So for me, I went ahead and I just Googled the area we would be living in, both in Madrid and now here in Andalusia in the Malaga area. For Madrid, I just typed in teams near me on Google and it came right up with the CF Valdebebas team. We lived in Valdebebas, Madrid, so we were proud to play for the team that city represented. And I contacted them on Instagram directly and I translated through DeepL, the app I use for Spanish to English translating, and just said, hi, I'm a mom to a parent, or I'm a mom to a child who would like to play football on your team. Are there open spots? When are the tryouts? And oftentimes you can walk into the field at any time of the year. It does not need to be at the beginning of the year to do a tryout and to join the team. And so that's how we got onto the team in Madrid. Same kind of thing when we decided to move down here to Andalusia. I just got on Instagram, looked around to see the local team, and we are now playing for CD Cancelada as we live in Cancelada, so we're kind of always playing for the home team. So contacting them is a great first step. Now, if you are not sure if your child will be able to hang with the level of skill on a federated team, I'll be honest with you and share that I have been encouraged by the fact that it can be tough and hard and the skill level can be high. But I also think that they do accept players that listen, that are on time, that are obedient, that they listen to the coach's instructions. And so if you have a child who is moldable and someone who's willing to learn, then it's not a possibility to be considered. So just something to keep in mind. What can we do now that we are waiting for Griffin to receive his federation paperwork? Nothing. I've contacted the Federation in Madrid. I contacted his former coach. I'm in touch with the league here, the director. I talked to his coach here. There's really nothing he can do. And so he just continues to practice with the team consistently. He plays in friendly matches, but he's not really getting much touching the ball time as we're waiting for the paperwork. So just wanted to illustrate this as another example of a time that paperwork in Spain, not just visas, not just tax or padrón or these different appointments you have to move to Spain, they can be frustrating, but also day-to-day life, like paperwork to get a package that was sent to some courier or waiting on federation for paperwork for football. These are just examples of how Spain's bureaucracy can be super frustrating, especially to an American who's not used to waiting and is used to customer service. I just think it's really important to paint the other side of the picture, that it's not going to be easy once you get here. It's kind of where the hardness begins. And so Griffin is in great spirits. It's actually, for our first few months of living in the Costa del Sol, it has given us the opportunity to explore a little more. Like next weekend, we're going to go with friends from school to Ronda, and we wouldn't have been able to because we would have been, at football. And so while I wish he was playing and he loves to play and we love supporting him there, I just need to be patient, because that's what I've learned living in Spain, that the paperwork will come. He'll play when he's able to. And I used to be what Landon, my son, would say. I was a Karen, that I was constantly like, not yelling at, but just calling customer service and being very direct and saying, if you don't get Griffin on this team right now, then, I'm going to be super angry and contact your supervisor. There's not any of that in Spain. There's the language barrier that prevents you from being able to do that. But there's also just a different culture where you just don't do that. You just kind of wait. And so while it's frustrating, it is what it is. You'll see me in Ronda. And for now, I just want to encourage you that if you have a child who wants to play football, they'll have a wonderful experience here in Spain. It has been a great way. Landon, our oldest, is now bilingual, but Griffin struggles more with wanting to speak. And it's so endearing to watching him listen to and understand the instructions of a Spanish-speaking coach, especially in Andalusian Spanish, which is much faster than in Madrid, and interact with these Spanish kids. He has inside jokes with kids on his team and feels very included. And so if you have any questions of what it's like to either wait for federation paperwork, get federated, join, or search for a football team for youth here in Spain, I'd love for you to ask me below. I'm happy to give out any links that you need for people to move to Spain. So visa, tax, long-term financial planner, realtor here in the Costa del Sol. Just send me a message on my email or schedule a coaching call anytime, and I'm happy to walk through your move to Spain. Ciao.